one really does a rhetorical analysis on Twitter, but here we are, and this is our moment, so we're gonna shine. Who could have guessed our countless time spent on social media actually means something? What we post online is read by millions of other people around the world at all time, and we never really know who our audience is because anyone can access anything that's posted online. So whether we know it or not, we've been throwing out posts that fit several aspects of using the rhetorical analysis. This is usually unbiased. Basically, a rhetorical analysis is when you pick apart the message that has been written. So if you read a post on Instagram or a tweet, or you watch the comments on Facebook, because some people do that and like watching the fights that occur on Facebook, you can see that there are different ways and methods that users use to say what they're trying to say and emphasize the certain topics and subjects that they're trying to maybe entertain or persuade with. According to the website thoughtco.com, rhetorical analysis is a form of criticism or close reading that employs the principles of rhetoric to examine the interactions between text, an author, and an audience. This website also includes that rhetorical analysis can be done on anything, such as an image, an article, a post online, a book, an essay, anything that can be read and analyzed, that can be done with rhetorical analysis. A rhetoriker is the person who is being studied. We're going to be focusing on posts specifically done online because many times we don't realize that the things that we post online can be very critical on our writing skills and the way we understand and do writing. The more that we are aware about what posts we make online, the better writers we become and the better ways that we can communicate. If you go on Twitter and you see someone post something on Twitter, that person is a rhetoric. You are looking at his image or text and you are figuring out what they're trying to say, and because of that, you are trying to analyze their rhetorical situation. There are many methods that can be used for tweets specifically. There are images, which can be just pictures or it can be videos, GIFs or GIFs, the color use, capitalization or all lowercase, put images at the beginning or the top, and use different types of hashtags that either go with each other or don't. If you put several hashtags or if you just put one hashtag, that also means many things depending on its context. What time you post it at, are you hoping for most people to see it at that time, hoping to post during a time that people aren't going to see it, which is kind of a weird concept to think about because you're posting it online, you should know that there are people going to see it. Location also matters. If you are a person who posts a lot in capital cities where many things happen, such as Washington, D.C., or Miami in Florida, or Manhattan, New York, these cities are very heavily populated and often have protests, or they have weather conditions that are very pertainable to topics that involve people's attention. I have chosen the hashtag subtweet because many Twitter users often use this terminology online, that it is used among all social media types, but directly is influenced by tweets. When Twitter users use the hashtag subtweet, that in itself is a way to use tools available on Twitter to make their message more focused on why they're posting it. The purpose of many tweets are to inform, persuade, and entertain, and that has a lot to do with rhetorical analysis. So when we're studying tweets, it is very important to understand that it is just like articles that we read in class or essays that we have to analyze for professors in college and English classes specifically. The rhetorical situations for Twitter users are things that happen or pertain to them in real life. It might be an event that affects them directly, or a thought that they've had all day, or something that they really want to speak about. When you use hashtags, you find a lot of content that are related to each other because they're using the same type of hashtag. For example, subtweeting is a not popular hashtag, but a popular term. Subtweeting means to indirectly say something about a person or a thing. Oftentimes it is between people. At Levin Carissa's Levinovsky tweeted, "Only low life losers drink and drive, hashtag subtweet." This was tweeted around 12:15 a.m. on November 11th from West Virginia, Morgantown. This tweet has a message towards drinking and driving, which is very apparent. It could be something that affected her personally, which is what I feel like is the case, but it could also be of things that she's witnessed in her life that don't directly pertain to her. She might have had a conversation with someone that day who was making bad decisions and was like, I'm gonna like go to this wicked party and then go driving, and she just did not feel that was a safe thing because she did not feel like that person should have done that, and that no one should do that, and that it's not even safe to ever think about doing that. So she's just putting her message out there very plain in all lowercase letters, no punctuation, in a very simplified, comprehensible way. She said, "Only low life losers drink and drive, hashtag subtweet." And calling them losers already discredits the people she's talking about. She has something to say about them, and she knows that they're not good people, and she purposely uses this terminology of losers to say what she feels like is right about them. They're not right. They're very wrong. They're losers. They're being offended by her because she has this strong opinion about this. Something I did notice about this tweet is that there was no likes, no conversation started, no retweets, there was no like notification on it at the time that I saw this tweet. But I can tell you that many people would also agree with this, as this is a topic that affects living people and dead people, and that's very important to many people, especially on Twitter, that have very strong opinions. At Jen Katie Organa, K. Henderson Howell, she said, "Dear men at conferences, I taught writing for over a decade. Don't tell me I would agree that the English language is falling apart if only in graded papers. Maybe stop panicking and teach better. Hashtag subtweet." Now, this was posted at 10:05 a.m. on November 10th, 2018. It got 4 likes, and it comes from a person who has like a profile picture of her face. She used a lot of punctuation in here. She has semicolon, she has many periods, she has capitalized words at the beginning of the sentence, she capitalized English. When you're subtweeting, you're not going to say subtweet, but this person says hashtag subtweet. So it, in 2 ways, ironically, is saying, I'm indirectly talking about you, but I want you to know that I'm indirectly talking about you without you knowing. Which is a very funny way social media works, but this is the thing that happens, and people do tweet this. And tweet this way very often, specifically on Twitter, because on Twitter, everyone says their opinions, everyone says what they want, and oftentimes, many people agree with them. As such, 4 people agreed with this Twitter user. She knows what she's talking about. At Lulami, if you look at it, it says sigh with 2 asterisks, hashtag subtweet, hashtag always a hindrance, never a help. And then the GIF image underneath it is a person saying to another person, "You're a racist face." Obviously, there is someone that she is speaking about. Sighed, she had very little words to say about it. She just wanted it to be known that she has this person she's very annoyed about. She might be a person, might be many people. We do not know the context of this, but it was posted around 4:37 p.m. at November 10th, 2018, and there's one person who did reply to this, which I do not have the reply. They used 2 hashtags in this tweet, which is very different from the tweets we've looked at previously. So oftentimes, instead of making a full tweet as like the other tweets we've looked at, that has several words in it that describe what they're trying to say. This person used emotion, which is sighing, a hashtag subtweet, which is ironically subtweeting or talking about someone behind their back without them knowing, but also the hashtag always a hindrance, never a help. And it's not like that's a category. They're using that more as a way to compact their their message into something else, which is very interesting. That if you look through Twitter, they do this all the time. Instead of doing a long message, they just do a hashtag, and the hashtag has the whole entire message in it, but just in a short, sweet kind of way. Oftentimes, if you click on that hashtag, you're not going to find other people who have hashtagged the same thing. Kind of more creative way to use hashtag. The GIF is very comical. It's probably not something that modern pop culture knows about, but it is the facial expression by this GIF is very funny to the other person that they're annoyed by it. This one, where there is Sherlock Holmes by Benedict Cumberbatch, is just checking his watch. It's very simple, it's very comical, it's entertaining, but it's also pertaining to the tweet of this person by Katie Babs, who said, "I hate waiting, I need it dropped in it." And it's probably not something we can think about, like we don't know what she's talking about, but she's probably waiting for something, and she's been waiting for a really long time. This user is very impatient by what she is waiting for. This GIF helps to say what she feels. I see the men on menning all over women's voices again, hashtag subtweet. So a lot of people agreed with this person. We have retweeted this. She has people who are talking to her about it, and she used slang that makes the tweet a little more interesting to read, which is menning, because a man cannot men. It's a very strange term and phrase. It's not actually in the English language, but she is using the slang "men are menning," as in men are abusing their power of being a man and doing the same thing they've always been doing, which is not listening to the voices of women, or just not giving respect to the woman's side of things. This is a very big tweet. This is a very political tweet, specifically at the time, because election day wasn't around that time. Obviously, it got some track because people were talking about the election, talking about political issues and politicians. So it's very interesting that hers got this attention from other people. Clearly, tweets are very important to look at, specifically in the political atmosphere, but also in other things such as personal life, because, you know, someone could be subtweeting about you and you want to know what they're talking about. You want to know why you're worth subtweeting about. I am not a Twitter user who is often scrolling and checking and hashtagging and posting all the time, but I am very aware with Twitter because it's often used in articles, in news stories, and in essays. When people are talking about a topic, you can usually find a tweet about it, because many people know that it's easily accessible to make a tweet, find a tweet, delete a tweet, and all these things. Twitter is a very tangible thing for an online kind of source. Even if you aren't a frequent Twitter user, you often get very used to seeing the tweet here and there on other social media sites such as Instagram, Snapchat, because a tweet usually gains popularity and goes through all formats. And that's the most interesting thing about social media, that the tweet can be used for multiple things, and not just for Twitter, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing, as many people will bring up old tweets to talk about discussions in the present time when the past was very different, and many people will have arguments based on this. Subtweeting is usually when people are criticizing each other about something that they said, did, or are going to do. I haven't subtweeted before, I don't think. Sometimes we do it unintentionally. People who do hashtag it are very directly subtweeting someone indirectly, which is a very complicated concept.
ever you're on Twitter or on social media, look at online posts and see if you can understand why the person who posted it. Do they want you to feel some way? Do they want you to know something? Do they want you to be entertained? What kind of hashtags are they using? What kind of tone are they giving off? There are some more mature content that I did not use in the tweets that I used for example today. But very often we know that people's opinions about each other does come with vulgar words and explicit phrasing of things. And I didn't use them for my hashtag, but there were many, if you go through this hashtag, which you can do yourself, there are many words that are very angry towards each other. They're less subtle than the ones that I showed you, which there are angry people in there, but they're not as angry as these people who use those vulgar and explicit content words. Sometimes they're harder to comprehend when they use explicit words, which is why I didn't use them, and it's also because I didn't feel like they were needed in order to describe the rhetorical analysis ideas. Subtweeting can often lead to dramatic conflicts or discussions online. When we talk online to people, or we start a thread, or when we post something about our own life, we are not paying attention to whether or not they're going to be understandable by other people who read it.
Twitter, maybe you should download Twitter. A Twitter situation is something that happens to them in their own life, often an emotional response. Purposes to entertain, inform, or just can't even spell Twitter. I don't even know what my account name is. Beep 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 beep. Ooh, so refreshing for a dude to say, "I'll call you tonight," and actually follow through with it. Hashtag subtweet. I said the wrong name there, but the shade is real. Persuade, entertain, or inform. I just dropped my phone. Oh my. A mess. Okay.